Hey everyone, I'm so excited to talk to Dr. Christopher Liu. He's an orthopedic surgeon, but he's got an amazing background in all sorts of types of investments, and he's willing to share it with us today. So, hey Chris, how you doing?
Hey, Peter. Thanks for bringing me on the show, and I'm happy to spend my time giving back.
That's awesome. I mean, I know you do so many things. I've seen, you're an author. You're about to do a TED talk, and you do so many different things, whether it's in real estate or other things. But I think for today, I'd love to just talk about your very first investment. You remember what that was?
Yeah, I've been investing in condos for since 1999, and the reason why I did that, I started out in medical school, and I did it for a couple of reasons. One was that I've always been an entrepreneur at heart, so from an early age, I was always after the financial freedom aspect. So, and then medicine was a way for me to add extra income so I could fund my investments. So and the interesting about Houston was back in '99, you could get a two bed, two bath condo, which was my first investment. I bought it for $60,000, 1,500 square feet.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was
Wow.
crazy. It was actually cheaper to buy a condo than it was to actually rent a condo. So that was one of my reasons. The other one was for just diversification. So I would have, I, I got into house hacking even before they coined the term house hacking. So I did
We should
that.
probably talk about that a little bit. Like, first of all, was this property for yourself or was it property? Sorry, it was a property for rental.
It was so I lived in one room and then I rented out the other room and
Okay.
yeah, and so basically basically the monthly rent from the other room was enough to cover like the mortgage, insurance. I think I paid like $100 out of pocket each month. But that's essentially rent free. So but
No, that's amazing. And that's what you're referring to as like house hacking, right?
yeah, exactly. So I had my mortgage, pretty much all the expenses paid for, and then from there I could learn a lot of. I right back then they didn't have YouTube or Airbnb, so I used email marketing. So that was my strategy and word of mouth. And I developed relationships with the schools, so they would always send me students. But my specialty back then, so I learned how to market to an audience, and I learned how to develop a good client product fit. So I learned how what like medicals like my ideal clients right now are medical students and professionals, and it's since expanded. But like I had the product in the service, which was the room, and then my client was the medical students. So I really fine tuned and honed that relationship. So my that room was never empty. So it was always rented out. It was always generating cash flow. So
That's amazing.
yeah.
I mean, what made you even think about it in the first place instead of just getting a place for yourself? I mean, I always wonder how people get the idea initially. Was it something you read, something you
Uh-huh.
like? What resources did you use to learn about this?
It I stumbled upon it even before the term was coined. So it was just me because I was always interested in providing a good experience. So as a medical student, it was always hard to find like affordable housing that was very accessible to the medical schools. Like in the medical center, it's like traffic is really hard. So, it was always, it was like an ideal product market fit. So, and then plus it was like I would develop like these great relationships and friendships with my roommates. We go and hang out, eat out together. We were still close friends and colleagues. So it was the whole it was just a whole synergistic win-win relationship. So and on top of that, financially it was great because it was a way of learning how to generate cash flow and how to run a business and how to market. And after that, I moved into making improvements. So I put in new flooring and like new kitchen and bathrooms. So I learned that skill as well. So
And where are you learning how to do all this? You just figured it out on the fly. Were you reading something online?
uh,
Were you reading certain books or websites, or what were you using?
well, the one book that I read was he's not in vogue now, but his book was called Creating Wealth by Robert Allen. So, like I said, he used to run these seminars, but he's not in vogue right now. So, but his book still exists. So, but I read the book Creating Wealth, and it was essentially creating financial freedom one property at a time. So he goes in, he talks about, you buy a bread and butter um, home, like a 3 bed, 2 bath home, and then you rent it out, and you have the client, pay down the mortgage and insurance, and then you sort of do things like hidden value and forced appreciation, and then you move on to the next house, and you continue that cycle. And it was basically investing was a cookie cutter process. It was just, it was a process. There was nothing that you needed. It's like it wasn't like you had to start Facebook or Google or something like that. It was just you just had to go through the process and know how to do it. Um, the other thing I liked about real estate was that it was just very creative because you could learn how to utilize like time and space and provide an experience, and then you could also use your creativity in uh, adding value for minimal cost. So that's how my brain was always trained to work, was always looking for how can I add more value to my client, with minimal cost as well. So it was,
Great. And what's it done for you now? I mean, because you're in orthopedics as well. So,
yeah,
kind of like fast forward, like what has this all done for you? Like we started with your first investment, but you kind of
yeah,
moved along. But
yeah.
what does your life look like today?
Well, it's great because right now with COVID-19, everybody's suffering from COVID-19, and it actually COVID-19 it affected like some portions of my business because I do a lot of traveling, but it didn't. Right now, a lot of my business is remote, so I work from home. So I've been used to working from home since 2016. Because of real estate, I was able to achieve fast financial independence, early retirement when I was 38. So pretty, and because of real estate back then, I achieved financial freedom from at 29, and then I was able to fast forward
Amazing.
to full retirement 38. So it's been basically real estate has been able to add provided leverage so that I could reach my financial goals much faster at an accelerated pace.
Great. If people were
So,
going to ask you, what's like one of the biggest challenges, or what did you wish you knew back then
uh-huh.
that you know now, that you would probably love to share with folks?
Well, like I said, I went into medicine because it was sort of expected, and you know, um, I was sort of trained to be, the key to success is a high-paying job and a profession. So, and there's nothing wrong with that because I think medicine's given me a lot of brand credibility. So, when people know I'm a doctor, it helps, build that trust and rapport. But really, my passion was business, entrepreneurship, investing, starting companies. So, but what I recommend to listeners and viewers is just follow your passions and your dreams. I wish I had done that earlier because then I could have, been 8, 10 years ahead of where I actually was. So just, do things for the right reasons, know why you're getting into them, and just follow your passions. So,
What an amazing story. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Hopefully, you come back on the show. I'd love to dig into a little bit more about what you're doing.
yeah,
And I think a lot of people appreciate just hearing your advice and start sooner, get it done, and who knows where you'll end up.
yeah.
So, anyways, take care. Thanks so much for your time. Take
Awesome.
care.
Yeah. Thanks, Peter.